Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith. Welcome to my finale recap of this season of The Bachelorette. Now, before we get into this episode, I want to thank you for sticking with me this season, for checking out these reviews. Even if this is the first Bachelorette review you're watching, I thank you for your time. So this was a very interesting episode. But before we get into my recap of it, let's go to Twitter and see what the Twitter universe has to say. Round of applause to Peter for being the only contestant in Bachelorette history to bring reality into the picture. Can't argue with that. So when Chris Harrison says the most dramatic Bachelor finale we ever had, this time he's not kidding. So true. Worst Bachelorette in history. Well, we'll get to that. Let's do one more here. What else do we got? Peter, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Nothing regards so-and-so and everyone watching the Bachelorette finale tonight. So a lot of interesting comments so far. So let's do a recap. So of course we were finishing up with the overnight dates, the fantasy suite dates, the bone chicka bone bone dates, if you will. And at the end of that, there was a rose ceremony. So weird. We hadn't seen a rose ceremony in a while. And they were all lined up. And by this time, Peter had pretty much said, listen, I don't want to rush in anything. I want to take my time. So she started talking and saying, hey, I'm not on this for a boyfriend. I'm not on this for a maybe. I'm on this for a husband. So I thought maybe it was going to be hasta la vista, baby Peter. But no, she sent Eric home. And Eric left with dignity. Of course, this is the first woman that Eric ever told that he loved her, he loved to. Which is unfortunate because I feel that that moment's been wasted. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have said it to her or saying that she wasn't worth it, but it's kind of bad to say that to somebody and then for them just not to not only not reciprocate it, but just know in their hearts that they didn't feel that way. Because for weeks and weeks and weeks, we've been seeing her interaction with Eric, and it just didn't seem that traffic was moving both ways. So we said goodbye to Eric. He left with dignity. He left with a lot of class. And then it was down to two. Well, she had this huge, moment with Peter. It seemed like the whole show was with her and Peter, quite frankly. And Peter just saying, you know what, I can't get to that place where I'm going to tell you that I want to marry you. I want to, get there like a normal freaking person. Well, he didn't say that. I'm just remixing it for you. But let's put our cards on the table here. This show does not produce a lot of long-lasting relationships. The usual thing is they get engaged, they're on the cover of People magazine, and then they're on the cover of Us Weekly several months later, and we're hearing about them breaking up. Peter's saying to himself, listen, I was skeptical of this whole process. I never knew I would feel for you the way that I do. Let's take our time and see where it goes. But that wasn't good enough. Rachel needs it now, like right now. So, unfortunately, it didn't work out. Now, for weeks and weeks, I've been telling you guys that I thought it was going to be Brian, and I want to be crystal clear on this point. I wasn't saying that because I think Brian's this, the great choice and Brian's this amazing person for her. No, it's because of the way that she reacts to Brian. It's the fact that as he's doling out line after line, she's eating it up, and he can really do no wrong. There's always that do no wrong contestant that just seems to float on water, and this season it was clearly Brian. So usually what you see is when, the two men show up and then she says no to one and then she says yes to the other. But we didn't even get to that point. We didn't even get to the two guys going to propose because the night or a couple nights before, whatever it was, Peter pretty much let her know, if this isn't good enough, then just walk away, which she did. So what we ended up seeing on the show was on live TV, we saw the two of them on the couch and we saw Rachel was a little bitter. She's a little angry. She's kind of giving them the you-know-what. The thing is that if you're over somebody and it didn't work out, you want to wish them well. But in this situation, there seemed to be a lot of residual anger coming from Rachel. Now, I can't speak for Brian, but I don't necessarily know how I would feel watching the camera play back my future fiance bawling over some guy, wanting this guy so badly to be able to commit to me. I'm sorry, there's a name for that. It's called second place. So he might be engaged to her right now, but you're not engaged to somebody who's madly in love with you. No, you're engaged to somebody who's madly in love with the ring. And if you don't believe me, Rewind it back because she was all, hey, I got a ring. Not, oh my God, I got the man. There's a difference. Let me do that again. Hey, I got a ring versus, oh, I got the man I love. Big difference. The basement was very interesting as I was watching this with friends. Probably one of the most entertaining parts was when one of my friends let out a big yawn, which kind of signified how we kind of felt about this entire season. There's nothing exciting about it. There was nothing like brand new about it. I know, of course, there was a lot being made about the fact that this is the first Black Bachelorette. And I think that's fantastic. And I'd like to see that continue, to see more diversity. But we learned pretty quickly it isn't really about ethnicity or race, because at the end of the day, people on this show do crazy things regardless of what their background is. Peter, I think, has solidified himself as somebody who was not going to just play by the rules and get engaged for the sake of being engaged. And to that end, I think he landed himself a lot of supporters tonight. I don't think he makes an ideal candidate for the next Bachelor because the guy just is not interested in committing. But I know that there are a lot of women out there who are going to be lining up because he showed something that you don't usually see on television. He showed a certain level of genuineness. This wasn't a guy who was like about the fame, and it would have been very easy for him to placate to her needs, but instead he stayed true, and I have a lot of respect for that. So at the end of the day, we've got this couple that I don't think a lot of people are buying into. I don't necessarily think a lot of people are taken with Brian, and I think Rachel really showed her colors in terms of being all about the ring. There's a big difference. So I give this a year. I'm looking forward to that Us magazine where they break up. I'm sure Peter is too, because then you can't tell me he won't chuckle to himself and say, ha ha, I told you so. But that's just me. Normally, by the way, we saw the preview for Bachelor in Paradise. I'm not usually a big fan of that show. I've just, never been my thing. But I think this season I'm going to check it out. Hi, Raven. Anyways, let me know what you thought about the finale. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you fall asleep? Tell me what you think. I would love to hear from you. CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WittyWhittier and WittyWhittier.com. Oh, by the way, Peter, if you happen to be watching this, some of my female friends think you'd make a great underwear model. I don't exactly know where that came from, but I thought I would share it with you. All that to say is the future is bright for you, my friend. For Rachel, I guess you have to keep faking it until you make it. Thanks so much for checking this out. My name is Keith, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.